Greetings, everyone. I want to take a moment and talk a little bit about the critical incident that occurred last weekend. I want everyone to know that I stand firmly behind the actions taken by the officers involved in that critical incident. I believe in my heart and soul that when the Department of Justice has completed their investigation, it will be determined that their actions were completely justified in the interest of preserving their lives along with the lives of the people that live within our community. While this investigation is taking place, we're working through it by offering resources to individuals involved. And we use the resources provided through our employee achievement program, Real Living. And the officers have access to their counseling services and other services that they provide to work through the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts relating to that incident. And everybody processes critical incidents differently. Why? Because critical incidences are traumatic. They are for anybody. Whether you're a rookie or a seasoned veteran, we're all impacted by them. And in speaking about being impacted by these events, just because you were not directly involved doesn't mean that us as a department are not impacted, because I firmly believe we are. It's called vicarious trauma. And I believe that even though many of us weren't directly involved, we all experience it on some level. And I want to remind everyone here that regardless of what your title is, your rank, how many hours you work in a week, whether or not you have our city insurance or not, you are all eligible for services from Real Living, our employee achievement program. Again, I repeat, everybody here is eligible for their services. I would strongly encourage any one of you to reach out and utilize those services. And speaking of the counseling services, I'm not embarrassed to admit that I've utilized those services. I find it comforting sometimes to be able to have a conversation with someone that is not going to judge what we're saying, help us work through emotions or other things that might be taking place. Because we all have struggles, we all have anxieties, we all have feelings that we're going through. And in this particular incident, it's a critical incident. Everybody's going to have some measure of trauma, whether the direct trauma of being directly involved or that vicarious trauma, because we work with everyone here. We love the people that we work with. We care about the people that we work with. We care about their well-being. I feel very strongly that we were all impacted by this. So I would encourage every single one of you, if you're having any measure of anxiety, maybe restless sleeping, maybe you have anger about it, fear about it, utilize Real Living. All of those services are confidential. I have no idea if you're using them or not. No one in the city knows whether you're using them or not unless you're telling people that you are using them. I have utilized their services and I have been very satisfied with it. I have found it to be very helpful. I would encourage you to do so, encourage you to use them. There's no harm in it. There's no shame in it. No one is going to make fun of you for it. We have it for a reason. Please use it. Also, in regards to the critical incident, maybe this has been bothering people or not. I'm not sure. No one has said anything. but I want to address why I have not released more information as it relates to the home invasion. I have not released additional information regarding the home invasion because it is so intertwined with the critical incident that my concern is if I do release more information about it, it could potentially jeopardize that investigation the Department of Justice is doing and potentially jeopardize the officers that were involved in that critical incident. So if you are disappointed or frustrated or upset that I have not released more information, I apologize to you for that. Those are the reasons why I have not done so. I do anticipate doing another release at some point next week. And the reason being is the Department of Justice, in all likelihood, will be able to release more information next week, which will then in turn allow me to talk more about the home invasion. So expect more information to come out at that time. I also want to thank everybody too for being able to have that discretion and keep confidential the information that you may have about this incident and not sharing it with those outside of the organization. And I'm sure that creates some stress and anxiety because you have family, you have friends, people that are interested in what you do at the police department, interested in those actions that were taken. So it is a burden, and I recognize that burden has been placed on you, and I apologize for having to do that. Just know I so appreciate you taking on that responsibility and cooperating with that. Because it is a burden. Cannot take that away from you, and I apologize for that. The investigation that's taking place should be concluded within 30 days of them initiating the investigation, which started on Saturday. So I would anticipate it being done within that 30-day time frame. Is it possible it could go longer? Yes. However, it's unlikely it would go longer. The Department of Justice strives to complete their investigation within that 30 days and have that presented to our district attorney so our district attorney can make final determinations. So hang in there, and it will be done within that time frame. And again, I feel confident that it'll be determined to be justified and the actions taken by all the officers involved were appropriate. So, in conclusion, again, I just want everybody to know how appreciative I am of the work that you've done, the discretion that you have. We're supporting those officers that are involved. Make sure to take care of yourselves, whether you have direct trauma or vicarious trauma. That's all very important to do that. That's self-care. Because if you can't take care of yourself, we can't take care of others. So please, do not neglect yourself. And I understand working in this business, whether you're a sworn officer or you're part of our support system, we all are impacted by what happens here. Please take care of yourself, because then it's very hard to help another person if you're not in a good state. And the very last thing I want to say to all of you, I have reached out and I have spoken to the deceased mother, and she has expressed to me that she holds no ill will towards the Menominee Police Department or the officers involved in the death of her son. She felt it was a tragic incident, that no officer should have to be put into that position to make a decision to use deadly force. And she was very sorry that they had to experience that. Obviously, she's in a lot of grief about the loss of her son, but I found it absolutely remarkable that she has that perspective, and she wanted me to express that to not just the officers that were involved, but to all of you. And I'd be remiss if I didn't share that with you. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Anyway, if you have questions, concerns, as always, you're welcome to come and see me or call me or text me, or I'll do what I need to do to be able to meet you to work through whatever you may have going on. Thank you. And I appreciate all that every single one of you do. And I couldn't be more proud of all of you. Thank you.